Hi there, welcome to QA Let's Test. And yes, this is Cypress Test Runner UI, and this is very helpful when we are developing our test case. So, for example, in this particular case, you see I get this problem. Okay, so I figure out what is the root cause of this. I go back into my test cases and make the respective fix. All right, this is not the fix. All right, I'm just using this as an example. And the moment you do the Control S on this file, this is going to automatically rerun this test case. All right, so you could see the test execution is started. So that ways you can ensure that okay, the fix that you has made has actually fixed the issue or not. But the moment your development is done, you have to inject this code in your CI/CD pipeline, and to do so, you should have the ability to run these test cases from the command line, from the terminal of your system. So does Cypress support that? Yes, Cypress supports that as well. So let us open this page, and in this page they are telling us what you will learn from this particular page. So we'll learn how to run Cypress from the command line, because this is very much important. When we have to run our test cases in the CI/CD pipeline, we require some kind of command line interface. Then it is telling us that how to specify which spec files to run. So there might be cases when you just want to run a specific folder or a specific file. Okay, and then how to launch other browsers. So that means that there might be some default browser in which all the test cases are run in the headless mode, and if you want to control that, then what is the flag we have to use. All right, so now it is telling us what is the command that we have to use, and the command is Cypress run. So to open the test runner UI, we have been using Cypress open. The only thing that we have to change is we have to use Cypress run. Now you can either go for this approach when you have locally installed Cypress, and we have locally installed Cypress, so we'll work on this command. We also have this npx thing in here, and you could see that this is applicable only if you have this or greater version of npm installed onto your system. And to check that, all you have to do is open your terminal and just type in npm space hyphen hyphen version, and that is going to give you the version of npm. All right, now this npx Cypress run, this is beneficial when you run your things into CI/CD mode, because with it, when you use this, what's essential is that it should be installed locally on your system. Okay, and this is the binary that you are then executing, and you're mentioning in the path where this binary is there, right? So Cypress is executed with the help of this binary. But when you run in the CI/CD mode, it is not mandatory that you first install everything in there. So you can also use this. So now it automatically download the Cypress binary and execute your test cases. Okay. So this is going to be slower in our case, but I'll show you that I can run it using this command as well. And later on, we'll move on to this one. But in CI/CD pipeline, you can go for this. Okay. All right, we can also keep our terminal commands in the script object, which is there in the package.json, so we'll also see that. And there are different options that we can use, like we have this hyphen hyphen browser through which we can control. By default, Cypress uses Electron when it runs in the headless mode. Okay, you can control it. If you want to run your test cases on Chrome, you can just say hyphen hyphen browser space Chrome, and so on. Config we have already seen, and config file also, because these two options are also available in the UI mode. Then we are also going to work on this environment. If you want to group your run, then you can use this headed. Will basically, if you want to use Cypress run and then you open the test case in the UI mode, or basically you can say in a browser, then you can go for this headed. Headless basically is, when you mention the browser, right? When you say hyphen hyphen browser in Chrome, it is going to launch a Chrome browser, but you don't want that to happen. You just want your test cases to be executed in Chrome, but in the headless mode. Then you're going to use this particular thing, right? No exit is basically, whenever your test case is executed, right, the browser will be quit. So if you don't want to do that, if you just want to keep it open, then you can go for this. You can run your test cases in parallel as well, but for that you have to have the dashboard service in place, because this parallel flag has to be used with hyphen hyphen record. Okay, and this record is used when you go and record your test case execution run within your dashboard. Okay, within Cypress dashboard, which is a web service, as you already know, and I already explained that in part one of this video series. The reporter we have not done yet, so I'm going to skip that, but we are going to visit this in the upcoming videos when we install different reporters in Cypress. Okay, so good enough. Let's move on to the coding part. So for that, first we have to close all this. So we are done. Okay. Now in package.json, okay, either what you can do is you can write your test scripts in here, okay, like some of these examples are already in here, or you can just type your command directly in here. So we'll start with typing commands in here, and let's start first with npx. Okay, so you say npx cypress and you say run. Now when you run this command, just like you do cypress open, then all the files within the fixed integration folders would be shown to you. Right, so currently now there are two folders. We have been working on this QA box this far, right? What I've done is I've taken the subset of these files and put it here. So in total in the command line suite there are only 5 files. Just to save time, we are only going to execute these 5 files. Okay, now if I now run this command, right, so all of these test cases would be executed. These 17 and 5 from here 22. That is going to take a lot of time. So let me take a shortcut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Cypress that hey, my integration folder path is not Cypress integration, but inside integration I have this folder command line. Okay, point number one. So if I do this and now run npx cypress run, just remember one thing. So when you run your Cypress using this run command, right, anytime a test case fail, a screenshot would be captured. And does not matter whether your test case passes or fail, right? It is going to record the test execution. So we will see two more folders under this Cypress folder, one for the screenshot and one for the video of your test case execution. Okay, let me run this. And it is going to take some time, so let's wait for it to start. Okay, so it has started and you could see the default browser it has picked is 85 electron 85 and headless. Okay, so now you see it has picked one of 5. So in total there are 5 test cases, and in here you see all those test cases that are being picked. So we have successfully reached in here and we are executing only these 5 test cases. Okay, and the screenshot folder is also created, and inside this video you could see one video is created per file. So there would be 5 files created in here, one for each of these test cases, and screenshot will be captured only for the failed test cases. And you could also see the naming convention. All right, so this is the name of the test case, and we have the same name for the video being created for the test case. And same way, you know, the test case, one of the test case got failed inside this test case 01 basic test, and you see the folder with the same name, and under that the name of the file is the name of the test case that is being failed. Okay, this is how things will be created. Okay, so you see at the end you will see this tabular report which says that okay, in the first file there were 2 test cases, one was passed, one was failed. In the second one also there were 3 test cases, 2 were passed and 1 were failed. And overall it is going to tell you okay, 2 of the test files were failed out of 5. All right, and let us quickly look at the videos. So I'm just going to open that. Videos are created in here. So first one got failed, so let us execute this video or play this video, sorry. Okay, so we have taped the whole execution. Great, and we have not written even a single line of code for that. All right, and let us look at the screenshots as well. So this one got failed, and we can clearly see the reason. So the element that we are looking for, this element, no articles are here yet, wasn't visible. Okay, it's because this article is available on the next page, and my sign in process got failed, and hence I did not land onto that page. Okay, straight enough. Alright, now I'm going to make some more changes because creating these snapshots and this video takes in time. So let us disable these features. So we are going to say video, okay, and currently it's set to true. Let us change it to false. And we also need to disable the screenshot on run failure as the name suggests. So it is also true. We just set it to false. Okay. Now we have seen the npx way. Now if you have to run it from the binary installed locally within your node modules folder, so all you have to say is node modules. Okay, then inside that you have the bin folder. Inside that you have Cypress. Okay, now the command that you have to use is run. Okay, now I'm going to do one more thing, and I'm going to now take this thing out. Okay, let me just cut this because I'll be using this. So now we have deleted this. So Cypress is going to now pick all of my test cases under this integration. But if I want to control it from here, the flag that you have to use is you have to say hyphen hyphen spec. Okay, and in here now you can pass in this. All right, so we have landed onto that folder. Now what do we want to do? We want to execute all the files within this folder. Okay, so this way you can control that. Okay, hey, I want to execute all the spec prime within a specific folder. Okay, so you just run this, and you can use it like you can keep all your regression test specs under one folder, and then you can run your regression same way you can do for sanity and so on. Let us hit enter. Let me delete this screenshot and video, and remember that we have disabled these, so we'll no longer see screenshots and videos folder now. Okay, but this is going to speed up the thing. So again, you could see the default browser that was picked is Electron 85, and it is executing all these 5 test cases in the headless mode. Great. And we'll see the same result. Okay, so the completion test has been completed, and you could see the test report. Okay, the default test report. Now we have executed all the test cases within the folder. What about a specific test case? Again, it's very simple. What you can do is let's execute this test case 5. Right, so what I want to now do is I would like to say I want to execute the test case which has got this string in its name. Okay, so env, right? So only this one would get executed because we do not have env in any of the other test case names. Okay, so let us hit enter, and this time only one test case would get executed. So it is important we understand all these things, because when we deploy it on the CI server Jenkins, then we are going to make use of all these commands. Okay, so you see one file found and the execution has been successful. Okay, so what if I want to change my default browser? Let's do that. So all you have to do is you have to say browser. Okay, and then you have to give the name of the browser, Chrome. Okay, so like this. So now we are using two flags, one for browser and one for mentioning the spec file. Okay, now if I run this, see what is going to happen is it is going to launch a Chrome and execute that test case in there. Okay, so we will see, this far we have been seeing the name of the browser and headless, but now you see a browser is being launched, and herein it is going to perform that test case. We have this Chrome 87, so it is no longer headless, but at least we are able to execute our test cases on the Chrome version. Okay, let us try it on Firefox. Again, it's very simple. All you have to do is you have to change it to Firefox, execute that, and now it is going to open Firefox and execute this test case. So Firefox has been launched, as you see in here. It's Firefox, and our test case execution has started. Okay, Now if you want to execute this in the headless mode, what do you have to do? You have to add in one more flag, which is headless. Let's hit enter, and this time no browser would be opened. Test case would run in the Chrome headless mode. Okay, so you could see Chrome 87 headless, and we are executing that one specific file. Okay, and it has executed. So this time our test case has timed out. So we can extend the timeout, but now at least we can see that we are able to run our test cases on browser of our choice, and that too in the headless mode. Now let us look at one of the test case. So in this particular test case, what I've done is I have written the code that if I provide the email from the environment variable, use that. Same for password. Else, so if you could see, this is a kind of conditional coding that we have done in here. So we are saying we have used if and else. So if we provide the environment variable, right, use that, and in here use that email and use that password. Okay, so we are going to type email and password being provided from the environment variable. Okay, if I do not provide the environment variable email and password, then read it from the fixture file. All right, so I'm going to provide the environment variables from the command line. Okay, so let us execute it in the headed mode. Okay, so you can say headed mode and browser and Chrome, and that way it's explicit that you want to run your Chrome browser in the headed mode. But even if you don't mention it, still it will run in the headed mode, right? But for to run that in the headless mode, you have to say hyphen hyphen headless. Okay, now to pass in the environment variables from here, you just have to say this env. Okay, and then you're going to pass in the environment variables in here. So okay, we are going to say email and we are going to say password. Okay, so email is this. Since you have to pass in two environment variables, so you're going to separate them with the help of comma, and you're going to pass in the other environment variable now. That's it. Hit enter, and now instead of reading it from this particular file, it is going to read it from the environment variables that I've provided. And let us look at the file in the meanwhile. This is the file. We have got this in the file. Okay, I have provided in different credentials from the environment variables. So it is not going to pick the one from the file. It's going to pick the one from the environment variable. So it should type QA box let's test and the password thing. Alright, so this is how you can supply the environment variables from the command line and use them in your test cases. Okay, now by now you might have realized it's too cumbersome to write in that code, and once it's executed, it's gone. The better place to store all these commands is your package.json file, and inside that you have the script object. So in this command test hyphen script hyphen chrome, you could see I'm using Cypress run. I'm passing the email and password from the environment, okay, using this environment flag. Then with the help of this browser flag, I'm controlling on which browser I want to execute my test cases. And then I'm also providing the spec file which I want to execute. Simple enough. Okay. Same way, another script is for Firefox. Everything else is same except the browser. And now this gives you the control that if you want to execute your script first on Chrome and then on Firefox sequentially, then you can use this double ampersand sign, and If you are not clear on this script part, I've already created this Node.js basics for QA. There is a playlist onto my channel. There are approximately 7 videos, an hour or so you have to spend, because it is very important, because you are working on the Node.js environment. Okay, and these are the few things which will help you in addressing certain things in a nicer way. Okay, we can also use the pre and post test hook. So I've explained everything in there, but in this particular case, this one is good enough. Okay, so let me run this command now. Npm run. Right now we have to pass in run in here, or we can also use run hyphen script, because we are working with our custom command. Okay, we are not working with the node special commands like start, test. Okay, so you have to do it like this. You just now need to hit enter. So you see Chrome browser. Okay, and now a Chrome browser would be launched. Okay, then Firefox would be launched. So let me just take a copy of this particular script and make some change in here. So rather than just doing this environment, I want to execute all my files one more time. But this time I just want to show you. Let's give it a name, test show. Okay. I also don't require this thing in here. Okay. Rest all is fine. Okay. So let us execute this command. So there are 5 test cases in this folder. So browser would be opened 5 times and closed 5 times. This is for test case number 1. Okay, so browser is closed. It's being relaunched. So it is very important that we realize that, if we want to share the state between two files, we have to do the programming by ourselves, because that would not be there in the browser, because we are creating a new browser, all right, for every spec file, right? So one last thing, before we conclude this, is one flag that you can use, because at times you want to do the debugging, right? So I think the flag is no exit, and my browser would not be closed. So browser is being launched. Test case execution has started. Test case execution has been completed, and browser is still there. It's not closed. Okay. So these are the different flags that we can use while running Cypress from the command line. I hope you like that.